my zone, on the road to the Super Bowl. Every game on the schedule crucial, it take a toll. It don't matter if we at home or on the road. You try to tackle, I'll truck a sucker and take it soul. I'm staring at 4th and goal, gotta find an open hole. A linebacker just close a hole where I'm supposed to go. So now I'm thinking my centers are all pro, so I trust he can make a waffle wherever the ball go. Tap the cue on the shoulder, that safety is coming over. I see that look in his eyes. If he slip, I'ma slide right under the tight end, curl over the right end. Long as the wide receiver block for me, I can jump right in. Yeah, there's 5 seconds at home. Watch me get this touchdown and this W and head home.
Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to Cowboy Game Day Live. We are live here once again at Kanvas Sports and Social. Out here, it's the patio, the I would say deck, but more so patio, with the rest of the folks walking by here. Beautiful downtown deep. Ellum, Jesse Holley, Skywalker Steel.
What up, my brother?
Week 5, Cowboys traveling to Pittsburgh. There's a big one.
Huge.
It's a big one. It's a rivalry renewed. It's an interconference game, so it may not be big in the sense of a conference or divisional type of victory or loss. But for the Cowboys, they need to start building some momentum because they just came off a 2-game skid, and they're trying to go on a 2-game winning streak, traveling up to Pittsburgh to play a pretty damn good defense. So lots backs against the wall. A lot of things happening for them in regards to injuries, and hopefully they can overcome that. But big game tonight, Jesse.
No, absolutely. For the Cowboys, this is one of those games where don't care if it looks pretty, don't care how you do it.
Get out of there.
You just got to get it done. You have to find a way when the chips are down, when things aren't kind of, the ball isn't kind of rolling in your favor. How can you get and rally your troops together, whether that's your coach, whether that's the leadership on this football team, whoever it may be, but be able to get your team galvanized, go on the road, like feel how you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers. That environment is a football environment, right? Like Pittsburgh is a football environment. So it's going to be, and it's the Cowboys. So you know that you're going to get that extra buzzed up group of people out there ready to cheer the game on. Rain, sleet, snow, whatever may happen in that game tonight. But the Cowboys have to find a way to galvanize themselves, us against the world, and come out of this thing victorious.
I feel like we, and just me personally speaking, I feel like we don't play with that mentality. The fans have it. Yeah. Right? The fans always have that us against the world mentality, but then on the field it never feels that way.
53 brands, baby.
It feels like we're a front-running team and that whole thing, but it's truly, it should be at least us against the world for them today because they're without, Micah, D-Law, Brandon Cooks, Deron Bland. That's 4 really important players to your team, and you should be preaching that all week. You should probably be preaching all the time for the Cowboys, but it's kind of hard to feel that way when you got the nice facilities and the helicopters coming down at practice and you got the artwork at the stadium. It don't feel like you're against the world. It feels like you got the world, right?
No, you're absolutely right. It feels like, and when you constantly hear America's team, when you're on everyone's A block of their shows, whether they're local or national shows, right? Sometimes it's hard to have that galvanizing feeling of, you know what, it is us against the world because everyone else is telling you, nah, you bigger than you. You're bigger than the world. You're the world. You are the world.
We just live. What's the term? It's your world.
We just living in it.
We're living in it.
We're living in it. And so for the Cowboys, they got to figure out a way because they are down a lot of soldiers for this one.
Well, there is one specific person on this team, very important person on this team, that understands that Pittsburgh culture that you would hope will bring that type of mentality to them as they travel to his hometown, and that's Freaky Mike.
He's Michael to me now.
Oh, he's Michael now?
He's Michael.
So that's like me with Terrence. Yeah. With Terrence Steele, he's my first cousin when he play good.
He's Michael.
When he play bad, he's third cousin that ain't allowed to come to the cookout.
He's Michael. He's Michael now.
Michael McCarthy.
Yes.
Michael McCarthy from Pittsburgh understands that area, has that kind of, scruff mentality that you will hope, again, he brings that to the Cowboys this week as he travels back. Now, we know he went up to Green Bay last time and kind of was hoping that would be a homecoming of sorts, and it was a terrible ending.
Yeah.
But this is a true homecoming for Mike McCarthy, who's from there. And the Cowboys, this is a team that they don't play a lot. They only see them every 4 years. The last time they was up in Pittsburgh, great game for the Cowboys. Ended very well. Dak and Zeke rookie Dak and
Look,
Zeke.
just young. They
look
was just
so young, man.
and
Just full
youthful.
yes,
and
wet
fresh
behind the
legs.
ears,
And
breath
just,
smelling like Similac.
man,
Yeah.
they were just, to see Zeke get out there, he had a couple long, he had a screen.
80-some yard screen.
And then he had the one to end the game right up the gut and just ran away from folks.
He was running. Zeke used to run away from people.
Woof.
I had an argument with one of the fans, like, he ain't never make nobody miss. I said, man, you ain't watched Zeke when he first came in. He was eating corners up and making guys. Yeah, it was beautiful. But now they go back up, kind of, it comes, what's the term? Comes full circle.
Yeah.
Right? Life comes at you full circle, and Zeke and Dak back on the same team again, traveling to Pittsburgh, totally different situations. Where that was the game that cemented Dak. We had the whole, football is, what did he say? Meritocracy.
Yep.
Is what Tony Romo said. So, yeah, it's a bit interesting. They're going back up there, but things are way different now. Dallas is 2-2. They're not a 10-1 team heading up there, and they're without a ton of players going into this game. The inactives for today, we talked about Micah, who is inactive. Another guy who he's not going to be on the inactive list, but DeMarcus Lawrence
moved to IR.
Was put on IR. Trey Lance, Kalen Carson.
Big.
I was hopeful that Kalen Carson would be able to play in this game, still dealing with the shoulder. He's out. They did call up Amani
Ayo for me.
That's what they called
Ayo for me.
They called up Ayo, who sealed the game last week against the Giants, so he'll be likely the starting cornerback. KJ Henry, they just traded signed. They just
off
signed
the practice squad.
Off the practice squad, KJ Henry, he's inactive. Matt Waletzko, John Stevens, second healthy scratch. Not really feeling that, but that's what happens when you get hurt. Big one, though. Well, it's not really big, but Deuce Vaughn, come on, man.
Little tink.
I guess it's over for my short king.
It's a little tink,
It's over, man. Deuce Vaughn is inactive, y'all, and I don't see, unless an injury happens, I don't think it's happening for Deuce this year. So no Deuce Vaughn.
More Hunter Lemke, though.
More Hunter Lemke
He's your third running back now.
He might be.
I'm just saying, he's your third running back now.
Cowboys Nation, is he really your third running back, though? Is he really? Is he RB2, RB1B?
Listen, he's in the rotation now, for real.
Like Hunter weird, because Hunter, he RB2 to me. He's fullback 1. He might be tight end 2.
Might be.
And he play all the special teams. Hunter everything, man. Shouts out to Hunter Lipke. But yeah,
that's how you keep a job in this league.
That's how you keep a job.
Just do a little bit of everything. Don't have to master anything. Just be really good at a bunch of stuff, and you'll always find a spot on someone's roster.
Put a pin in that, because I want to bring that back up later when we get into the Cowboys run game. But, burying the lead a little bit here, another guy that you won't see on the inactive list, which I thought we would, but they put him on IR, wide receiver Brandon Cooks. He's out with he had the infection, and, he's up there a little bit in age, about 30 years old. These cleanups take a couple weeks. They just said, you know what, let's just go ahead and put him on IR. And now, first of all, before we get to the Young Bucks, just kind of and I get it, he hasn't been productive, Jesse, but the importance of not having that veteran guy in that room, on that sideline, in the meeting rooms, preparing to play, a team like this on the road where the crowd's going to be loud, and that's a good defense.
No, absolutely. And when you talk about what the things that Brandon Cooks brings to this football team, and while the productivity has not been there, 91 yards right now on the season, and I get it, I'm with you guys, but it's the knowledge of what's going on the football field that pays dividends in moments like this. When you have I can play football, but do I play it at a level and a speed that correlates with my quarterback? And that's going to be the big thing. If it's a zone, and help this offense matriculate the ball up and down the football field.
Very, very well put there. Let's put a pin in that here real quick, Cowboys Nation. I understand we're dealing with some technical difficulties. 1 second. Let me see if I can figure out what the heck is going on here. Can you guys hear us right now? We're losing a lot of people at this second. They got us outside today, so connection may be a bit choppy. Can you guys hear us right now? Let me see here. Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah, brother. Let me see if I can switch this Wi-Fi connection. As we're going to try to, again, deal with the technical difficulties, just let me know if you can hear us a bit here. so you guys can hear us. All right, cool. So if it's not choppy from that end, I'm going to bring us back this way. Are we choppy still? Which it's coming back, but let me just look here on my phone. Apologies, y'all. This is out of our hands here. If it wasn't, we'd be good. So it looks like we back. Okay, great. But if you missed that, and which I hope you didn't, because
I hope you didn't.
He was just spitting.
I just took you out of school right there, man. God,
he was just spitting right there.
I was going to ask you, hey, cut that up, send that to me. I need to put that somewhere in the no.
I hope we didn't miss all
I
that.
Hope you guys got that
right there, because that is the one thing, the one concern I do have. While we are all excited to see these young bucks,
yes,
all excited to see, hey, who's going to step up? Your round pick from a couple years ago. Will they involve Devontae Turpin more? Ryan Flournoy is the man of the hour right now.
I was talking about
the new flavor of the month. The issue though is you are going on the road in an environment where it's going to be interesting, and you put it together so well here. Brandon Cooks, wow, the production's not there. We all agree it's not, but he gives you some kind of a comfortability knowing that I know Cooks is going to be where he needs to be. You don't ever see that issue happen. I know Cooks isn't going to fall over his feet when I'm throwing the ball and it's going to cost an interception. But now Dak has no choice. Dak has no choice but to trust Tomlin's not going to just let, CD Lamb just get one. Not going to just let, CD Lamb just get one-on-one all day.
Right.
And not have anybody buzzing around. And the fear I have is, even if the Cowboys get down just a little bit, all right, now we're going to try to spam Lamb, and you just know Minkah Fitzpatrick and those boys will be waiting there. So that kind of is my concern. I don't want to see the Cowboys just force-feeding Lamb without any creativity behind it just to do it. A bunch of slants, a bunch of comebacks just cause. Have a purpose behind it, and if you are taking away, or if they're taking away some coverage and you got one-on-ones elsewhere, that's where those young bucks got to step up.
Yeah, and I think from the offensive coordinator Michael McCarthy's perspective is I got to create easy throws for my quarterback. I got to create easy catches for my receivers, because I don't want this thing to be real contentious early on where now we're battling within ourselves because we can't get anything going. So for Mike McCarthy, sometimes you got to just settle down your quarterback and settle down these young wide receivers.
Yeah.
I got to give easy answers to these guys early on in this football game to allow them to find their rhythm in this game. One note, one of the advantages that I have as kind of pseudo-media, pseudo-former player, I get to roam around the building a little bit more than other people. I get to stick around in places longer than other people. Aimed Michael McCarthy into putting things in motion, so to speak, if I may use those terms. Practice a ton of more motion. I saw into the formation motion. I saw orbit motion. I saw fast motion. I saw a bunch of different motions from this football team, man. Now, will they come into the game? From my mouth to God's ears, from your mouth to God's ears, I do not know. I can only tell you what I was able to witness during the game, but we'll see.
Hey, we need that, bro. We need that, brother. We need that. Yeah, man. Hopefully they utilize. It's going to be tough, I think, on the road, though. To utilize a whole bunch of that motion on the road because of – I shouldn't say utilize the motion, but breaking it out with these young bucks on the road with this environment. So hopefully it's something where they've built in some type of cadence where it's a silent count or whatever and everything's good to go. But what you were saying there, I kept thinking about easy, making things easier, this and that. Not just the motion. Can the run game help out at some point? Can the run game help out your quarterback and these wide receivers and this offense in general?
It's tough because right now the Cowboys are dead last in the National Football League in rushing yards a game. They're like 29th in the NFL in rushing yards per carry, and so you're. It's a tall ask, right? It's a tall ask because this has not been their strong suit. And I even got into a little back and forth with some of my co-hosts this week, about the offensive line can only get better as the year goes on. And I said, no, that's not true. They can actually get worse. We assume
that's true. No one talks about the other side. That's crazy.
We assume that the more that Tyler Guyton plays, the better he'll get. No, that's actually not true. The more that he plays, the worse that he can get. The more that Terrence Steele's out there, the better. No, that's not actually true. He can actually get worse, and because we've seen it. We've seen. I mean, we watched our first round pick from a year ago. in Mozzie Smith have an entire season where he didn't get better.
Yeah.
Right? Like he had one good game in 21 games. So the notion of the more they play, the better they'll get. I think that's a false narrative that people sometimes lean into, that they want to believe because Tyler Guyton may be a project at that left tackle spot. But there's no factual truth in that. So you're trying to take these two pieces of crap, and so you're trying to take these two pieces of crap and make it into sugar.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on right there. And you're right. We usually, and I'm the same way. I don't normally look at the other side. I'm like, oh, well, it's two rookies. They're going to get better throughout the season. Well, they'll get better because they'll have more reps. Better may not necessarily mean they're going to be better in October and November. Maybe it's February. Maybe it's March when they're better.
Right.
You hope, though, it is October, November, December. The more they play, the more they can gel.
Yeah, but getting better means that I'm practicing better. I'm performing better. Like those reps that I'm getting are actually turning, I'm turning the corner. If you're still doing the same thing in late October that you were in August, and for Tyler Guyton is a guy who, is out there reaching too much, leaning too much on his technique. Yeah. If those things aren't improving as we're getting along, that means you're practicing. The reps that you're getting are bad reps for your sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that, like, am I making sense?
No.
Like, you're practicing bad habits even with the reps that you're getting.
And to compound the situation, I don't think we have a scheme that can mitigate your offensive line's weaknesses. Like, I often bring this up. You go look around the league. I feel like we're the only team that has to have all these great offensive linemen up front to get something going. The rest of the league doesn't have 5 Pro Bowlers up front, but they're somehow, some way are able to run the ball well. Right. You name me all these Pro Bowlers in Washington right now, but they can run the ball at will because they have a quality back and they have a quality scheme to go with it, right? And I don't see that for the Cowboys right now. So, when I say I put a pin in it, I'm looking at this game. This defense that you're going up against, this Steelers defense, it's a really dang good defense, man. They are number 2 so far in points per game, and they're number 2 in rush yards per game. And I know it sounds silly to say, well, you got to find some type of run game, but the last thing you want to do is allow number 90 to tee the hell off on you every single play because you got to throw the ball 58 times. You don't want to be like Kirk Cousins the other week.
Right.
I know he did great in the dome at home against a team that doesn't have a TJ Watt, but you want to find something on that ground to keep these guys at bay just a little bit, even though I know it may be tough. And I was thinking about how, like, this is a physical defense, so I kind of want to get the ball to a guy that can match his physicality. I know the first person you think of is Ezekiel Elliott. I think Zeke has a role, and he should play his role, and maybe they should give him a little bit more in that role, right, which is kind of the third down and short goal line. If you can get down there,
if you can get to the goal line and get it to third and short too.
Yeah, if you are in a closer role, maybe you can play the closer role. But Hunter Lipke, that's the kind of what I was thinking about. Well, what about Hunter Lipke matching their physicality with the physicality of a Hunter Lipke from time to time? I mean, because you don't got anybody else. I don't think Rico was going to do that. I don't think. I mean, I guess you could say Zeke, but Zeke, I think what Zeke does is more. Okay, here's what's blocked up. Here's what it is, and I put my head down and I fall forward. I don't look at that as physicality. I feel like Hunter Lipke is going to either try to make a play or he's going to try to run through you. And I'm not saying give him the ball 10, 15 times, but what do you throw anything at this situation right now on the ground? That's how I'm looking at it.
No, I get you, and I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the thought that
we gotta rely on Hunter Lipke.
This is where we've come.
This is what we've come to.
This is where we've come. Out of all of the things that we could have had in this world, right, in the football world, we've come to the point where we now have to, as a media conglomerate, to figure out a way to somehow get get this thing going. And one of the answers is Hunter Lipke.
It's wild.
I think sometimes we say it, and I don't think we really actually understand what we're.
Trust and believe me, I've thought about it.
That's where we're at in this football team right now. Hunter Lipke has become a realistic, viable option for us to get something going offensively.
Yeah, and
in
not
the
like
running
2-3 touches. No, he's being talked about like, we got to get him the rock, 6, 7, 8 times a game. And theoretically, that sounds good if you have a versatile offense that way, but you don't have that. You don't even have a bunch of weapons, so it's like, hey, I guess this is what we got to do.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one
crazy.
thing if you like how the Saints employ
Taysom Hill. Nobody's going in the game saying, we got to get Taysom Hill. They know this is Taysom Hill's role.
He'll get 2 over here. He'll get 3 over here.
Yeah.
But like, we've come to a point where like, maybe this will work. Let's throw this up against the wall to see if we can't. Like
I feel you, brother.
Have the mighty have fallen from grace.
It was a point in time just last year where I was like, man, CD Lamb, Cooks, Turpin, Ferguson, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, like there's way more. I'd rather get them to touch the rock.
Yeah.
You don't got Cooks no more.
Nope.
They don't care about Kevontae Turpin.
Nope.
Rico is he's just what he is, right? He's an average back in my opinion, but he has a role, but he's an average back. Ezekiel Elliott ain't like that. You don't have a lot, so you're like, I guess Hunter Lipke is the next thing up.
We down bad.
With all due respect to him, but if you really had it like that offensively, he would just be that kind of small role guy that you surprise guys with.
Yeah.
But this is where we're at offensively, and I say that to say, you said it last week. Number 4, step inside the booth, loosen up the tie.
Superman is alive.
It feels like it's going to have to be that type of day today, man. Tonight, I'm sorry.
It's not a feel. It has to be. I jokingly, Dak is a very tailor-made suit-wearing dude. I went on Twitter and I tweeted his suit guy, right? And I said, hey, do you got any tear-away material you can make Dak a suit of this week? Because we gonna need old boy to be Clark Kent.
Yeah,
we gonna need him to really step inside the booth, but unbutton the shirt and loosen up the tie, because and I'm sure you said it, I've said it all week. I never want to use a narrative of we paying you $60 million, but if there's ever been a time to go, we're paying you $60 million, now is the time where I need you to show up in a major way. I'm not. But when you're down Brandon Cooks and things
don't
just
have a running game,
and things just aren't kind of go, I look to the guy and go, this is why they paying you $60 million. But
it's not though.
But it is. But in a sense, but
then that's wrong.
What I'm saying is that your value. You have enough value, and I'm using the money as a reference.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I see what you're saying.
Your value has to be greater in these moments.
Sure.
You have to figure, and now, what does that look like, right? What does the Superman look like? Because the Superman comes in many different forms. The Superman can come in the form of 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you win the game. But Superman also can come into, you know what? Hey, I just have to make the right plays in the right moments. Tuck the ball and run to get a first down in the third quarter to keep a drive alive.
I don't think that's going to be enough.
What I'm saying, you're in a position right now where there is no one to look to, right? There are times where I can go, hey, Micah, go get me a play. Hey, Diggs, go get me a play. Now I'm looking around. I don't have many of those options.
So get you a victory in this game.
No. At the end, Metropolis is saved.
Then that means he had Injustice League helping him. Because at
the end, Metropolis needs to be saved.
Sure, but I don't think he can.
And we need you to do that.
Then I need you to rip off the suit and fly in the air, use the beams, use your strength. Because I don't think he can go in here.
Locomotive.
Yeah, I need all that.
Tall buildings in a single bound.
I need that today.
And that's fine. But again, if that means it's a 10-10 game heading into the fourth quarter, you get the ball in the last drive. Hey, Superman, I need you to go drive us to get the ball down there, kick a field goal, win the game. Metropolis is saved. That's the part to me is in those moments, because to be Superman from start to finish, that's a tall task, right? That's why I say there's moments in this game where I need you to be really good. I need you to be really good in those moments.
So in those moments where he's not that Superman, who then needs to step up around him?
Trayvon Diggs, right? Trayvon Diggs.
CD Lamb. Jake Ferguson.
I think CD is his Robin, right? I think as he goes, CD goes. As CD goes, he goes. I think those two are kind of one and the same, because CD doesn't do anything without 4. I don't care. If 4 don't throw you the ball, you just out there. So I think those two kind of have to be one and the same. But even CD, if we're talking about superheroes, there were moments in time where, hell, damn near all the time, Robin had to go save Superman sometimes. Batman sometimes, excuse me, to be able to say, you know what? Hey, do what you did 2 weeks ago and take a normal, 10-yard, 12-yard out route, make 2 dudes miss, and go score a touchdown. right? Like that saves Superman from having to save you again because you put on your cape for a moment. I'm listening. Hunter
It's
Lipke.
the defense.
Oh,
it's the defense. No, Hunter Lipke. Hunter Lipke, the bodyguard. It's the defense. The defense has to keep. You said 10-10.
yeah.
That means the defense stepped up in this game and allowed him not having to be Superman throughout the day.
Oof.
Right? And fortunately for this defense, no, seriously. Fortunately for this, I don't think they're going up against a juggernaut.
No. They
I don't
are.
think they're going up against a juggernaut. With all due respect to Justin Fields and Najee Harris and George Pickens, this Steelers offense struggles to score points.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to go out here and outscore the Steelers, you have problems bigger than Superman.
Right.
Like, even though you do. You clearly, obviously do. But I don't even know if he would truly have to have the high beams on and the strength stronger than a locomotive. It's a bird, it's a plane. He'd have to be that. But this defense, I think, can be a good sidekick today to where the way you called it, two different versions of Superman, well, that other version, maybe he can show up without having to be a hero all day.
Right.
And if that's the case, well, Dak has been comfortable in doing that. Right? Like that. All right, cool. I can play within this thing to keep it close or whatever. Where things always get weird is when teams get ahead and now we have to be more risky. We're going to spam Lamb. They know we're going to spam Lamb. Oh, here comes whoever it was against the Saints with the interception. Right? We don't want it to get that way. So I feel like the Cowboys defense has to be that sidekick today to keep things. And I know Cowboys Nation, no DeMarcus Lawrence, no Micah Parsons. That could be a tough task. But I actually feel like they can have a good day against Najee Harris and this running attack. They're 29th in the league in rushing success. They have the most rushing attempts, but they only average 3.7 yards per carry. Now, on the flip side, you have not been great against the run in 2 games than you have in the other 2 games. Which Cowboys defense is going to show up in that manner? I tend to believe today, and this was my hot take this week, that the Cowboys' run defense will show up, and they will be able to slow down. I'll say slow down Justin, but I think they'll stop Najee. But Justin Fields is the wild card to me. If they spam Justin Fields, and I'm a little worried about that on defense.
You have to be. I mean, Justin Fields, you fear a lot of times his legs more often than you do his arm, right? Like he can make some down the field throws, but if Justin Fields beats you from the pocket, you live with that. You tip your cat to him and you say, well, job well done, young boy, and you go on about your business. But it is going to take the discipline. It's going to take the details. Yeah. It's going to take you having to be consistently where you're supposed to be because you don't have the likes of a Micah Parsons out there that even when everything breaks down, he is God-given, blessed to go and make a play, right? And that is something that is extremely, extremely sometimes overlooked. It's like when you don't have them is when you miss them the most. And
grass ain't always green.
It ain't always green. So now, who are the guys, right? Like Nealon's not a guy that you think about that's going to be able to turn the corner and run the guy down like Justin Fields. Eric Kendricks is an older guy. You think about, maybe, Agent Zero, DeMarvion Overshown. He's the guy.
A lot of spy, though.
He's going to be playing a lot of different situations. And the one thing that if I have a critique on his game, it's when he's a heat-seeking missile and you can't go nowhere, he lines you up, right? He struggles a little bit in open space, right? And sometimes that's just his aggressiveness. Like he wants to be a heat-seeking missile. But in these type of conditions, we talk about the grass may be a little bit slippery, things may be a little bit inclement in the weather. Justin Fields is a guy that you gotta make sure you get a solid hit on because he will make you miss in the open field a little bit. DeMarvion has to be under control, right? Have that control crazy. Get to where you got to get to, but it ain't about the hit stick. It's about making the tackle.
Yeah.
That's where you have to be at for that guy.
Phil, and one of my things I noticed with Fields, at least with the Steelers, is he's a second window creator. So, like you said, rush discipline, because if you don't, while he'll look to throw. Yeah. Like, don't get it twisted. He's a running quarterback, but he'll step to the side, and he'll create a second window for Pickens or whoever it is, and he'll make a play in that manner. So you definitely have to be able to come under control if you're a DeMarvion Overshown. If he steps out, the rush containment and your job is to fire down will come under control. We've seen DeMarcus Lawrence so many times not do that. It's against Justin Fields, the Bears, a couple years ago. He missed how many sacks because he just rushed and tried to grab Justin Fields. So if it's Demo who's going to be the spy, I agree with you. You definitely got to come under control. And if you do, I like the matchup with Diggs and Pickens. I feel like he's the perfect type of guy for Diggs, because Diggs usually struggle with who? Guys that route runny, twitchy types, fast types. Yep. Pickens he's a dog. Don't get it twisted. Dog mentality. Pickens not gonna route you up. Pickens not a 4-3, 4-2 guy. He's a 50-50 ball guy to test it. Oh, guess what? Diggs is that type too. Diggs is 6'2", 200 pounds. He can match the physicality. So here was what I was thinking. You let me know. And it sounds weird because usually you say, well, I'll have a guy travel when you're dealing with a high-power offense. Yeah. But I was thinking, well, maybe in gotta have it passing moments, you put 7 on 14. I'm not saying travel them all day, but when I watched the film against these with the Steelers, he's going to Diggs all the time. I'm sorry, Pickens all the time. Yeah. He has 30, I think, targets. The next closest is 10 at receiver. It's Pickens or it's Freiermuth. So if I'm Zim, I'm saying, hey, 7. It's third down, you follow him 14.
Yeah,
it's second and long, you follow him 14. Make him come off of him and go to Freiermuth at 5 yards in front of him, or try to get it to Van Jefferson, which they don't even go to.
So now my next thing is, okay, if that's the case, then we're talking about the other 10 guys playing zone, or are we in man all together?
That's a good point.
Because what ends up happening now is, if you're playing man, what you run into, if and when Justin Fields breaks containment, everyone's back is turned. You see what I'm saying? Now that's when Damarian Overshown, if he's going to be the spy, you got to be right more often than not. Because if Diggs is following and we're playing man across the board on the backside, when he breaks containment, if you don't get him, there's a ton of space between he and the next defender, because all those other guys are chasing other defenders on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So those are the things, like those are, and I agree with, in those moments on those third downs, how we're going to do it. But Zim now has to create something, and we're going to do man here and zone everywhere else, but it becomes difficult. Combo coverage type. But again, because now I'm taking away another guy who would be in that combo coverage, because now he's a spy.
Yeah. That's and two guys. So basically, two guys aren't
going to be
part of the coverage.
Part of this coverage, and that's a good point. That's the thing that you got to be able to do. And again, I don't have the veterans out there. I got young guys out there, right? I'm going to have to play a little bit more Maris.
Hell, you don't even got Kalen Carson, so the talent level may even drop a little bit on the other side. So can Amani Ao? I'm sorry, can Ao? Which honestly, I don't want to go too far left here. Booth, I definitely would be like, oh, I don't know about this.
Right.
Ao has a solid year in the league. Yeah. When he was with Detroit, it's not like he hasn't played against guys, so maybe he doesn't feel the need to have to do that, except for in those gotta have it type moments. Because I didn't think about that, and that's why you have a player's input, because you gotta think, okay, that sounds good, but what about the other dudes that are a part of this thing? Those dudes gotta play too. I didn't think about that. But man, so I actually still like that side of the ball against the Steelers defense. The Steelers offense. I like the Cowboys defense against Steelers offense, as long as they can have another day like they had last week in regards to stopping the run.
That starts with Mozzie Smith, though.
That starts with Mozzie, the linebackers. If this run offense for the Steelers, Arthur Smith is going to run the ball. He can be a creative run designer. He hasn't really been so with the Steelers just quite yet. Maybe the Steelers can't execute it. They don't got the guys in the backfield. Jalen Warren's out. Cordell Patterson's out. This is going to be heavy Najee Harris today. You'll see. Najee might have 20-25 touches easy tonight. Easy. He might get 20-25, which you hope not, because that means they're running the ball a lot. And Pickens might get 10-plus targets in this game. And Justin Fields might have 7 or 8 rushing attempts. That seems to be their offense. Just like last week, we talked about who? Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors. Yep. That's what they're going to do. And this is what the Steelers are going to do. Maybe they're a little bit better than the Giants. I know the Giants are probably they were in a good game with the Seahawks, but from a talent standpoint, these guys may be a little bit better, but maybe you just play this in a similar fashion, just knowing that your antenna's got to be up higher because you're dealing with Justin Fields and not Jones, who can scoop, but he ain't Justin Fields.
No, he ain't. Not even close. Not even close.
Not at all. But kick off in the next 10 minutes. Before we get there, let's get to our game day pick'em, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Cowboys Nation, join the millions of fans out there in fantasy doing the football pick'em entries, brought to you by our guys Underdog Fantasies, where you can use your predictions to win real cash on the #1 fantasy platform. Use our code ATOZDALLAS for a deposit match up to $1,000. The link is in the description. So, you guys can join along if you don't know about this. We teased it a little bit on Thursday, and I'll start off with the first one. Dak Prescott, we talked about having to be Superman, right?
Yeah.
Higher or lower 241.5 passing yards. Jesse, I'm going to tell you why I have higher. Because it has to be. Because it has to be. I still do not have any confidence in the run game. Hopefully they can give me some. I've been asking for those guys to give me some. I know last week was their best day, but their best day still wasn't even that good of a day. And you had penalties. Yeah, that counts too. Penalties count too. Whatever. So I think that Dak is going to have to go out there and he's going to have to throw the ball a good amount. Probably going to be over 30 attempts. This Steelers defense in the passing game hasn't been that great between the 20s. They've hunkered down in the red zone. But I think this could be a target he could hit. And I know no Brandon Cooks, but CeeDee Lamb is still there. And it still is Dak Prescott, who's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, going up against his zone defense, who will put it in the windows. I can see him easily hitting.
Is going to be here. I'm going to go lower. I'm cheating. I cheated.
No. I mean, circumstances have changed.
Yes.
So, update here. Weather forecast says rain in about 20 minutes. He says right now it's perfect out, but there is a 30-minute lightning delay for the game. That's going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy because the next guy I have here is Najee Harris. The rushing yards are 69.5, and I felt good about lower. But if this is going to be a game where both teams have to run the ball 35 times, dude, he can get 30 carries and get 70 yards. That's not a good day. Yeah. But he could hit higher. So
that would be right on average, right? Like 30 carries at 3.5 yards.
3.5 yards a carry this year.
That's right on the money right there.
I have lower, so I got to stick with lower, but I don't feel too good about it because of the weather. I thought the weather was going to be, in the Cowboys' favor here. So higher, lower, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm going to go higher with that one. You'll hear a lot of the guys talk about it. You'll probably hear it during the game.
You can see the lightning.
Shout out to Mike McCord and Bucky Brooks and company, because in those big lockers that you see on the sidelines are cleats. And you have your regular rubber bottom cleats, and then you have your studs. You got your 7 inches right there. I'm sorry, not your 7 inches. Your 1 inch cleats. I'm sorry, not your 1 inch. But you want to get those 1 inch studs to be able to go out there.
Stiletto.
Yeah, no, not 7 inches. I meant 1 inches. I'm looking at a 7 over. No, I'm looking at it. Yeah. The 1 inch studs, you want to have those because you want to be able to really plant into that soft surface, and if it's wet, you want to be able to have that type of traction. So you're going to see a lot of guys with those studs. You're going to see the little mat, in the huddles during timeout where guys raking off their feet and stuff like that because grass gets caught up into it. Because if I'm not mistaken, Pittsburgh Stadium, even though it's outside, it's a grass field.
Oh yeah, grass.
So so that water, I'm sure they have a filtration system where the water drains out, but that water will get wet, and you will see, the turf be given up.
I think the weather done took all my picks and just turned them upside down.
But this one still might be good.
Yeah, because look, CeeDee Lamb higher, lower, 85.5 rush yards plus receiving yards. I'm still going to I'm sticking to what I got here, but I feel most confident about this one because if Dak is going to have even just 200 yards, half of them is going to CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. Plus, he'll likely get a reverse or two. I'm sticking with that one. Higher, lower, 88.5 yards on CeeDee, 85.5 yards on CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I think you're okay with that one. I think CeeDee Lamb will definitely
feel comfortable about something.
I think CeeDee Lamb will be able to go out there and make plays. He has to. Yeah. If this team will have any remotely close chance of winning this football game, it will be on the backs of 4 and 88 offensively. Those guys are the engines that make this team go, and I don't think that changes tonight. They'll still be a part of the game plan, and you'll see CeeDee Lamb get the ball in slants and go routes all over, and of course he'll get a carry or two in the backfield.
That is our higher lower presented by Underdog Fantasy Sports. Make sure you use the promo code ATOZDALLAS. I didn't have a running back pick for this game because I just didn't think the Cowboys were going to run the ball, but they may not have a choice. So if we're looking at the backfield today, obviously it's going to be Zeke, Hunter Lipke, and Rico Dowdle. could this be the day that they find something? That'll be tough against a Steelers defense. Cam Hayward's fantastic against the run. T.J. Watt's fantastic against the run. Patrick Queen may not be a cover linebacker, but he can play the run really damn good. Keanu Benton's a problem in the middle. Again, I said this during this against the Steelers defense, what that will do for their momentum will be huge moving forward because of who they'll be without. If the Cowboys' run offense can have some success against the Steelers' run defense, that will settle down the fan base a little bit because I think rightfully so, everyone's concerned about the run game because it's been poor. Yeah. It's been block poor, it's been run poor, it's been call poor. It's been a poor run game. There's no two ways about it. But if they can go out there in a game where the weather is delayed, they may get some rain, and they can play some old school smash mouth football, maybe then that'll give this line some momentum. It'll give Freaky Mike, he maybe become Freaky Mike again because right now he's Michael. If he could be Michael McCarthy, will get some confidence and now he can dial it up. But maybe this is it. Maybe you have no choice. So I know it's a hope, y'all. Yeah. But I ain't got no choice but to hope that this run game will eventually find its footing.
But, you come back to identity, right? You come back to
is it really our identity?
Who are you, right? Because you talk about smash mouth and being physical. Like, is that who they are, right? Because it's sometimes when you want to go and call on something, do you have the player that's going to answer that call? Right, like as a whole, is this a football team that goes and says, you know what, we're going to be able to strap it up and be a physical brand of football players in this matchup? That's the Steelers' identity. Like you understand,
they are a physical team.
You're from that area. You know what I'm saying? You understand just what Pittsburgh has been. They are a blue collar, lunch pail, and hard hat. Bring that to work every single day. We're going to be physical through and through. Whether we win or whether we lose, you just ain't going to out-whoop us. And for the Cowboys, you're asking them to do something that they are naturally not adverse to do. They're just not accustomed to doing it. And so I would like to see it. I would hope this is a mentality they can adopt at least temporarily, right? Get some look of courage in you and adopt that mentality to go out there and be a physical football team for 4 quarters.
That's real, and that's something, when you're just looking at the matchups on paper and just talking about this, talking about that, that's all fine and dandy, but then what's behind the helmet? What's behind the organization? And what's behind an AFC North type of teams, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, to their core? Yeah. They are physical. It's a physical brand of football. Even if they're high-flying that day, even if the defense may not be playing well that day, they are physical to the core. Look how Baltimore won the game today, okay? They hand the ball off to the physical running back. He gets 55 yards, game over. You know what I'm saying? That's who they are, and you're right. This is not who the Cowboys are, but, hey, man, maybe he got a little camouflage. Okay.
I'm with you. I'm hoping that Michael McCarthy goes back home and he adopts that, I'm from Pittsburgh. I hope he adopts that. This is my hometown, and I got to get back to that blue-collar way of thinking. I hope that. I hope that's his mindset. I hope that's what his pregame speech is about, and I hope those guys can get behind that.
All right, so Cowboys win if Jesse Holley.
We said it already. We said it all week. I said it all week. You said it today all week. Most people said it all week. This game will be won on the backs of Superman.
I agree.
Dakota Superman Prescott. He is going to have to be Clark Kent. He's going to have those moments in this game where he steps inside the booths, loosen up the tie, unbutton the shirt. Superman is alive. That's the only way. You don't have any other options out there right now that we can call off. Now, some things may happen differently, but this is going to be a game won at the end of the day on the arm, back, shoulders, legs, mind, heart of Dak Prescott.
Man, very, very well put. Definitely that last one, because he's going to bring the heart there every time and try to remain as even-keeled as possible. But this might be one of those games where he's going to have to rally his guys and make sure that these young bucks are up all game. I understand that as a quarterback, you don't want to get too high or too low. They kind of basically preach that to these dudes in the locker room. No one gets high, don't get too low. Zim says it all the time. But you're going to need, these are young receivers that need to step up in a nationally televised Sunday night football game. So I'm with you. It's you win this game if Dak Prescott definitely steps inside that booth and loosens up the tie. But what comes with that is also, I don't want to contradict myself because hero ball is going to need to be played. but don't let it overcome you.
Right.
Don't let it overcome you. Let it be natural to you. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is, early in the game, I hate our scripts. I think it's terrible. I don't like the Cowboys scripts. Don't. All right, CD Lamb, we're spamming it to you and try to fit it in this window, and Minka Fitzpatrick. Just let this come to you, and in those moments, maybe that's what I should have said earlier. Be Superman in the moments.
That's what I said. That's what I said, and you said no.
Because I don't think we can win that way. I don't think we can win that way.
Yeah.
But maybe those moments are only 3 moments. I think it's going to be like 33 moments.
Like, but it has to be like. That's what I'm saying. Like, tuck it and run, throw it to the flat. Like in those moments, you got to just be Superman, not for 4 quarters. Be Superman in the moments that matter the most.
And you might talk me into it because those are 2 different Supermans. And I would love it for it to be that one. That means he doesn't have to be. That means somebody else is stepping up, right? Like somebody else is stepping up to the plate. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe instead of 3 or 4 moments to be Superman, it's 34 moments where you got to be Superman.
About 13 of them things out there. 15 of them things out there.
And then that's kind of what I was thinking about. But now, seeing how this weather may come into play, this may be a game where he's only going to throw the ball 20 times. So maybe you don't need 34 passing attempts when you got to be Superman.
And in this type of weather, you can't really trust the kicker. Like the one that you can.
I don't know. That's like one dude I can trust.
When it starts raining, it gets windy, the ground is wet. Those are, now from 60, it don't feel so comfortable no more. The ball
no.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, those are the type of things you look back. All the things that you normally can sometimes feel like you can count on when you're on the road and the weather is bad. If you're dealing with rain, depending on how long it rains, how much it rains, is it a sideways rain? Like all those things will play a factor into this game.
And that stadium for field goal kickers is not welcoming.
No,
it is not a welcoming stadium.
It has the swirl coming off the river.
Yeah. I remember Three River Stadium. It was even worse. And that stadium was terrible. They said with the ground. Cowboys lose if Jesse.
Cowboys lose if the run defense goes from a Cinderella carriage back to a pumpkin. And I hope that what we saw last week from Mozzie Smith was the light bulb finally turning off. I hope it wasn't just one. I'm sorry, on. Excuse me.
Yeah, on. That go off.
On. See, it's been off for a long time. It's been off for a long time. I hope that something clicked and it turned on. And now Mozzie, people talked about the way that he was walking around the locker room and how he felt in the locker room. He was smiling, he was upbeat. He finally felt good about himself as a football player. Mm-hmm. And so I pray that light bulb has turned on, and it is HD 4K iridescent 8K, and that dude shows up this week again, and that they're able to go out there and do that. Because if they don't, you've already said it, Arthur Smith, he is stubborn in his ways at running the football. And if you can't control that line of scrimmage, if you can't contain that run game, then you're in for a very, very long night, because Mike Tomlin is one of the realest dudes, and he'll be like, run it again. Run until these MFers quit. Right? Like, that's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin will get on the headset. Like, he's one to get on the headset and be like, what are we doing? Run the football again. Najee coming out. No, you're going back in it. You're going to throw up on the field before I take you out. Like, that's the kind of coach that Mike Tomlin is. He ain't going to shy away from that, especially in these elements. So the Cowboys lose if they revert back to what they were prior to the New York Football Giants game, that defensive front.
As much as I want to say they lose if Dak doesn't play as a Superman, that's the easiest way they'll lose this damn game. Yeah. Is if another team is running for over 200 yards on y'all at will, because you know what that means? Justin Fields only has to throw the ball 15 times. And if he only has to throw the ball 15 times, probably completing like 10, 11 of them for like 250 yards. And it's just they can do whatever they want to do to you. So now, guess what happens? He really has to be Superman every play. Yeah. And while, yes, I do believe he's going to have to be Superman every quarter, I still don't want him to be every damn play and every time he's dropping back, because then that's when we're forcing things, and then we're going to get the inevitable. You're down 17, Dak go make a play, pick. That just happens all the damn time. So, and
then everyone goes, see, he
Dak
can't do it. He can't do it.
Yeah.
But we talked about this a week ago, right? The tight window throws. Eventually, those get tipped. Eventually, those go off a pad. And when you're throwing those tight window throws in the middle of the football field, tips and overthrows what a defense loves.
And guess what? Even if I'm going to put the cape on and go be a superhero. If you can't stop them when they go back on the field, what does it matter? You just get into a Green Bay game in the playoffs again, where you're going down there, you're scoring, but guess what? They've already scored a bunch, and they just keep scoring too. Yep. So, and at the end of the day, this is a good defense. I don't think you're going to score at will against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. You may only score 2-3 touchdowns in this game and have to rely on field goals from time to time to win, which means you're going to need your defense to step up. And the number one thing that needs to step up, run defense. You're 2-2. Your record's 2-2. Your run defense is 2-2. Mm-hmm. Week 1, you shut down the Cleveland Browns. Week 4, you shut down the Giants, and you walked away with a victory.
Yep.
Weeks 2 and 3, you did not, and those teams essentially blew you out. I know you fought back in the Ravens game, but that was an embarrassing output you put out there defensively, giving up over 250 yards on the ground. If that happens again, the Cowboys could easily and probably will lose this game on the road in Pittsburgh. That happened to you at the crib. You ain't even really get a chance to see how it feels on the road.
Yeah.
So, I think they lose this game if they don't stop the run right there.
I agree.
Do you have a final score, Jesse Holley?
I do have a final score. I don't think this one is one of those high-scoring games. I think this one is a strain on both sides for Pittsburgh, for the Cowboys. But I got Pittsburgh at home. I think the Cowboys are just without too much.
Yeah.
And while I think Dak will play good, I don't think he'll have enough to get this team over the hump. I got Pittsburgh winning this game 21-16.
That sounds. I've been asking everybody about a score. Everybody's in that range, high teens, low 20s for the winner or the loser of this game. Everything on paper says that they shouldn't win this game. Mm-hmm. You're without your wide receiver too. Your offensive line has been up and down. They're finding its way. They're going up against a two-time Defensive Player of the Year who's a ferocious pass rusher. Granted, they are without their other guy too. Alex Highsmith is not playing over there, but they still Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton. It's a really good defense, second in the league in scoring. They make things tough on quarterbacks. Although Joe Flacco at the crib had a good day against them, I think Shane Steichen came out and did well. Can the Cowboys offense coordinator Mike McCarthy do that? We'll see. Everything on paper says that they should probably lose a close game, and they've lost these type of close games. But look, if it's going to be close and you have an opportunity I'm with you, man.
You do have the better quarterback.
You've got to go, and you got to go make it count. And I think he'll make it count. And this could be one of those situations where I don't want to say it's a turning point because you know who he is as a quarterback. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback, second MVP. He is who he is. But maybe, just maybe, this could be something for those other guys. Maybe it's a young guy that makes a play. Maybe it's a Flournoy, Tolbert, Brooks that makes a big play to give them confidence, and he'll feed them that confidence post game. So I'm a flip it. I do think it's going to be a strain on both. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring barn burner of a game or anything like that. But I do think you're talking about the game is somewhere like 13 to 17. Dak goes down, gets a game-winning touchdown, 20-17 on the road, and it's a huge statement game. And I think that's kind of what needs to happen for these boys. This is a statement game to me. If they win, I don't think it's a statement game if they lose. I think they probably are favored to lose, but it's a statement if they win this game, given what's going out there. So I got 2017 Dallas.
Okay.
Close game both of us have here, opposite sides. We do hope, though, that it's not close and the Cowboys blow them out.
Oh, I would love that. That would make life a ton easier for us to deal with tonight.
Post game would be beautiful.
I'll be over here
jamming.
We'll be up late, so I'd rather be up late, happy, joyous, and happy rather than being up late and with the lemon face.
Well, it looks like it's still on a delay. I don't know how much longer it will be, but Cowboys Nation, we're going to get up out of here, and we will catch you guys at halftime.